Hi friends, in this video we'll get more closely introduced to a complex data type that we'll use often in Python, and that is the Python list. A list in Python is just an ordered collection of elements, and these elements are specified within square brackets. So an empty underscore list in Python is only the square brackets with nothing in between. The empty underscore list variable is a list with no element within it. And when you type out empty underscore list, you will see in your Jupyter notebook that there is nothing, only the square brackets representing that it's a list. A list is an ordered collection, and it can contain a collection of any kind of elements. So the elements within a list can be of any data type. Here you see a list of strings where the strings are names of cars. Observe that the list as a whole is enclosed in square brackets. That's how we know it is a list. And you can see that individual elements are separated from one another using commas. The variable list underscore str is a list of strings and displayed here on screen. The list is a special complex data type supported in Python. The types of variable list underscore str is a simply list. The element within a list can be of any data type. Here is a list of integers where all of the elements within the list underscore int variables are integer. The square brackets and the comma separating the element tells us that this is a list. Let's see a list of floating point values as well. You can have element within a list be floats, as in the case of list underscore float. Let's go on. You can have a list of boolean values as well. Remember, boolean values are true false values, and these boolean values can be the elements in a list. There are some details you need to remember when you are working with list. List elements can be duplicates, so list can be contained duplicate values, and that is totally fine. Also, the main features of list is the fact that the ordering of element in a list is significant. The order in which the elements appear in the list is the order in which the element can be accessed when you iterate over a list. Python list can contain elements of data types that are different from one another. Here is an example of mixed underscore list. It contains a string, an integer, a floating point value, and a boolean value. Elements of different data types can belong to the same list. Let's see how we can access individual element in a list. Here we have a car underscore list with a list of cars which are just string values. Individual element in a list can be accessed using indexes or index positions, and these index are specified within square brackets. Another detail to note here is that the first element in the list is at index position 0. So list indices in Python starts from 0. So if you want to access the first element in a list within square bracket, you need to specify the integer 0, and that's what we have done here. And when you call this print statement, you will see that we access and print out the first element in the list, which is Toyota Camry. The second element in the list will be at index position 1, the third element at index position 2, and so on. And these are what we are going to print out here. These are the Honda Accord, Honda Civic, the Toyota Corolla. The first element of the list is at index position 0. It stands to reason that the last element of the list will be at the index position length -1. So if you have 4 elements in a list, index position 4 is actually not valid. So the last element will be at 4 - 1 index position, and that is 3. And if you try access the element position at 4, well, that's an error. You can see that the Python error is quite descriptive. It clearly says list index out of range. For the fourth element car_list, there is no element at index position 4. The last element is at index position 3. If you remember the len built-in function in Python, previously we had used this len function with the strings. However, the len function also works with lists. And when you pass in a list to the len function, it will print out the number of elements in the list, which in our case here is 4. Let's work with our list of cars and using the print functions once again. The car at index position 2 access elements at specific indices using square brackets. We specified 2 within square brackets. And that is the Honda Civic. Remember that this is the third element in our car_list. Our car_list has 4 cars in total. The length of the list was 4. So you access the very last element by passing in the index value length -1, that is 3, and we can access the Toyota Corolla. The car_list is an example of a simple list which is a single sequence of string. This is often referred in mathematics as a vector. A vector has just one dimension and you use only one index to access the element within vector. So if you try to access this list using 2 index value like this, that is an error. Python supports very complex and powerful operations on list, allowing you to access specific positions or element within a list. Here is our list of cars. You will see that Python also supports negative index value. We are using the square brackets to index into our car_list, but we have specified -1 as the index position. This tells Python that we want to read the list backwards and we want to access the last element in the list. So -1 references the last element in the list. You can see that Python has printed out the Toyota Corolla, which is the last element in our car_list. Negative value can be used to access the list from the last element onwards. So -2 is the index position of the second to last element in the list, -3 for the third to last element, -4 for the fourth to last element, and so on. Car_list of -2 is the Honda Civic. Second to last element, then we have the Honda Accord and the Toyota Camry, which is the first element at the index position -4. We have just 4 elements in this list, so if you try to access the element at index position -5, we'll find that Python rightfully will throw an error. The list index is out of range. Negative indexes can be confusing when you first encounter them in Python. Just remember, whenever you see the negative value, start from the last position in the list. So -2 is the second to last element in the list. And in our list, it happens to be the Honda Civic that is present at the second to the last position. So we know that the car_list has 4 elements, which we can get by calling the len function and passing in the car_list as an input argument. Let's print out the car_list once again so that we remind ourselves what the element within this list are. And let's move on to some new operation that allow us to update element that are present in a list. Observe here that we are accessing the car_list at index position 3 and we are updating the element at the index position to be the Nissan Sentra. Car_list 3 is on the left side of the assignment operator, and that is what will be updated. And if you print out the new car at index 3, you'll see that it's the Nissan Sentra, and the Toyota Corolla that existed earlier is no longer part of our list. Just like we can use the square brackets to access individual index position in a list, we can use the square brackets to update those list elements. Here the car at index position 2, that is the third car in our list, is updated to the Hyundai Elantra. So if you print out the car underscore list now, you will see that instead of Honda Civic, we have the Hyundai Elantra at index position 2. Now let's perform simple list operations using lists. Well, we will work with the same list that we had set up earlier, the car underscore list with 4 cars. This is a list of strings, contains the Toyota Camry, Honda Accord and Honda Civic and the Toyota Corolla. We have already seen how we can use this list indices to update a specific value in the list. But what if we want to add new element? We know that the last element in the car underscore list is that index position 3, that is the Toyota Corolla. What if we try to assign the Hyundai Elantra to index position 4? Well, this is an error. Python considers the list to have 4 elements up to index position 3. So when we try to use index position 4 in our assignment statement, we get the error which says list assignment index out of range. So when you are using square brackets, you can only access existing index position in a list. If you want to add a new element, you need to invoke specific method on a list. And in this case, to append an element to the very end of the list, you call the append method. Notice how we say car underscore list dot append. The dot basically says that this action will be performed on the car underscore list and will append the Hyundai Elantra to the list. If you see the car underscore list, now you will see that it has one new element. The Hyundai Elantra has been added to the very end. Append adds new element to the very end of the list. Append is a method or a function that is called on the list itself, and it modifies the list itself. The append method or function that we invoke on the list can add just one element at a time. So if you call append with 2 elements, you see that this is an error in Python. Append takes exactly 1 argument and we have tried to pass in 2. The append method invoke or call on a particular list changes the list itself. If you see the length of the car underscore list now, you will see that it has 5 elements up to index position 4. If you want to insert an element at a specific index position in the list, you can use the insert function on a list. Insert takes in an index position and a list element and tries to insert that element into the list. It will shift other element to the right if needed. Here we are inserting the Nissan Sentra at element position 6. We have just 5 elements in our list at this point in time from index position 0 through 4. If you want to insert an element at a specific index position in the list, you can use the insert function on a list. Insert takes in an index position and a list element and tries to insert that element into the list. It will shift the other element to the right if needed. Here we are inserting the Nissan Sentra at element position 6. We have just 5 elements in our list at this point in time from index position 0 through 4. Now index position 6 is beyond the last element of the list, but that is totally fine. The Nissan Sentra will be added to the very end of the list, as you can see from the result here. If you pass in the list to the len built-in function, you will see that the len function correctly calculates that the length of this list is 6. There are 6 elements in the list. Now that we have inserted the Nissan Sentra at position 6, let's insert the Nissan Altima at the index position 5. You will see that the Python remembers that Nissan Sentra, even though it's at the very end of the list, was inserted using index position 6. So when you insert using index position 5, is added in as the second to last element in the list before the Nissan Sentra. There are the small details using list insert with the index position values, and it's important that you remember how they work and their nuisance. If you want to add multiple elements to the end of your list, you will use the list extend function rather than the append function. The car_list.extend takes as its input argument another list, and this list contains the Kia Optima and the Kia Soul. These two cars will be added to the end of the car_list. So if you print out the car_list now, you will see that the Kia Optima and the Kia Soul are present at the very end of the list. You can intuitively work with list using arithmetic operations as well. Let's create a new list car_list2, which contains 3 other cars, very expensive one. So if we have 2 lists that you want to combine together, you can simply use the arithmetic plus operation. The complete_car_list is a combination of concatenation of car_list1 and car_list2. Take a look at the complete car_list. All of the cars that you expect are in there. When you concatenate 2 lists using the plus operator, you create a brand new concatenated list. The original lists are not affected. So if you take a look at car_list, it contains the car that it did originally. Lists support another function or method called index, which allows you to access the index position for a particular element. Here, when we ask for the index of the Honda Civic in the complete_car_list, the list tells us that it is at index position 2. This is the third element in the list. Now the list element that you pass into the index function has to be an exact match to the actual element present in the list. So let's say you have Honda Civic with capital H within your list, and you pass in Honda Civic with the small h or h in a smaller case. This will not work. Python will not find Honda Civic where h is in lowercase, and this will be an error. The complete_car_list at this point in time contains the Hyundai Elantra at index position 4. This we have verified by using the index function on the list and passing in Hyundai Elantra. Lists in Python also supports a remove method. Simply call complete_cars_list.remove and specify the element that you want to remove. Remember, this element has to be an exact match with the element as it's present within the list. So here we have removed the Hyundai Elantra, and if you look at the list of cars right now, you will find that the Hyundai Elantra is no longer on the list. Now if you try to call the index function and pass in an element which has been removed, this is an error. This error says Hyundai Elantra is not in the list, which is correct. So friend, for this video we'll keep our learning up to here only. In this video we try to learn concept about lists. We perform simple list operations, and we did some useful list operations. And in our coming series we will try to deep dive more into this concept. Till then, happy learning and see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.